Hello viewers, in this lecture we will talk about interpretation clause of the Indian Contract Act, which you can popularly say definition part. Section 2 gives definition of 10 different words and says that unless the context otherwise requires, these words shall have the following meaning. Friends, just as laws are always territorial, they are always contextual. And therefore, law, when gives definition of a particular word, it is defined keeping in mind the purpose which law wants to attain. And therefore, you may find extension or restriction of the word from the dictionary. The words and phrases defined in section 2, so to say, are most common, but have a different meaning so far as law is concerned. I will first tell you the definition and then we'll analyze. The first definition is of proposal. Mind well, it is the first thing by which the whole realm of contract is put into motion. And section 2A says, when one person signifies to another his willingness to do or to abstain from doing anything with a view to obtaining the assent of that other to such act or abstinence, he is said to make a proposal. Now we'll analyze this definition. Look at the situation when it begins with one person signifies to another. One to another. That means there must be two parties. Second, signifies, the expression, the communication. Communication has a special meaning in law and we'll deal with it separately. Suffice it right now to understand the word communication in the ordinary sense. What is to be signified? Definition further says willingness to do or to abstain from doing anything. So to do or not to do anything. Why? With a view to obtaining the assent of that other to such act or abstinence. Now look here. Why this expression is made by one to another? With a view to obtaining the assent of that other. It is this that makes the whole of difference. It is here where the law of contract contemplates the intention to create legal relation. One person signifies to another with an intention to create legal relation. It is because of these that all social agreements are out of the purview of the Contract Act. The reason being, there is no intention to create legal relation in case of social agreements. The assent part, again, the consent. And consent again will deal with separately, which is a separate topic altogether. But it means consensus ad idem. The very next definition in clause 2 makes this clear. Meeting of the minds in the same sense. Why? Look at the definition further. The assent is to obtain for such act or abstinence, meaning thereby what is proposed. Then this is termed as proposal. And look at the other side of the definition. Clause B, which says, when the person to whom the proposal is made signifies his assent thereto, the proposal is said to be accepted. A proposal, when accepted, becomes a promise. Here again, signifies means communication. The same story like to A. Assent thereto. Thereto means what is proposed without variation. Friends, this clearly establishes that preliminary negotiations have no place so far as contract is concerned. It is the final proposition 1, 2, 3 and nothing more. I want to sell my mobile for rupees 1000. Do you want to purchase it or not? The answer is yes or no. Thereto means exactly what is proposed to. Therefore, when such proposal is accepted, yes, in law it becomes a promise. You can, in other words, say that what is promise? An accepted proposal. Simply, for common understanding, you can say that promise is an accepted proposal. This has to be, mind well, accepted by the person to whom it is made. It may be to individual, it may be to a class, it may be to a category. If it is general to the public, any member from the general public can pick it up. One thing is important here. If there are suggested variations in this proposal, then it loses the nature of proposal. Because the moment the variation is suggested, it becomes a cross offer. Meaning thereby, when I say sale of mobile at 1,000 rupees and you suggest 900 rupees, it is a new offer and the position of the parties change. Section 2C therefore defines the person making the proposal is called the promisor and the person accepting the proposal is called promisee. Friends, therefore, out of these three phrases, what is clear is that proposal has to be clear, definite, to particular person or class, must be communicated, and it must be accepted as it is. If there is lack of any of this element, it would not be a promise. Once it is a promise, mind well, section 2E says every promise and every set of promises forming the consideration for each other is an agreement. And section 2F says promises which form the consideration or part of the consideration for each other are called reciprocal promises. So essentially, what is agreement? Promise or every set of promises forming the consideration for each other. Now, word consideration is also defined in section 2D, which we will take differently at the time of taking the question of consideration, because it is little bit crucial definition, subtle definition, and not that much relevant at this juncture. Now, agreement again has a different facets. If you look to section 2G and H, just one word makes the world of difference. Section 2G says an agreement not enforceable by law is said to be void. And section 2H says an agreement enforceable by law is a contract. So change of one word, not, makes one the valid and not valid. Look at the power of law. Look at the power of the word. Just one word makes the huge difference. Similarly, such situation arise in again different situations, that is voidable. When the agreement becomes voidable, we'll see when we see section 13 to section 20 about free consent. But the definition under section 2I says an agreement which is enforceable by law at the option of one or more of the parties thereto, but not at the option of the other or others, is a voidable contract. One party can avoid the contract and the other cannot. How this can happen, we'll definitely see when we see the free consent under the Contract Act. Section 2J says a contract which ceases to be enforceable by law becomes void when it ceases to be enforceable. Now here envisage a situation that there is absolutely lawful contract, but something happens, some supervening or other event takes place and it becomes impossible to perform the contract. The law says that yes, it becomes void. The glaring example is section 56, which we often know as frustration of contract, and we'll deal with it separately because it is a separate issue altogether, and many contingencies are contemplated in that. Now, therefore, the picture is clear this wise that agreement which is enforceable is contract. When it is enforceable, section 10 says under these circumstances it is enforceable. If it is not enforceable, it is void. Section 2G says yes. In a given situation, one party may avoid it, the other cannot avoid it. Law says it is voidable. An absolutely lawful contract on the happening of something cannot be implemented, leads to impossibility of performance. Law says it ceases to be enforceable and then it becomes void. So everything centers around one word, enforceability. And that is why we have seen first what is enforceability. What is agreement? Right from proposal to promise and agreement. Therefore, often when we are faced with the question in the form of statement that all contracts are agreements, but all agreements are not contracts. And you will very well appreciate, will be able to answer this, that yes, because of this situation, all agreements are not enforceable and the statement is true. Thank you.